Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, June 29th. We're almost to the end of the Time Tinkerer's experience. I wouldn't be upset if they kept the Dust Gold rewards forever. That would be actually very nice. And if they got rid of the 40 gold of quests forever too, I'd be happy with that. But I'm pretty happy in general with what has been going on. We're already on the Americas account, and today, so I'm probably going to just try and get through all the news quickly, and then we'll just be done for the day. And today is certainly a day I could take a little bit of a break. A lot of dryness in the air or sickness going on, I'm not sure. And so I could give my voice a rest. That'd be nice. Draw 15 cards, play 20 spells. Easy enough to do. Probably just play Spiteful Priest while we're at it. Let's move on to the news. PC Gamer has an article. Yee's Memories of Celceta, C-E-L-C-E-T-A, is coming to PC this July. The long-awaited PC port has been quietly approved. Has quietly appeared on Steam, and they don't have to be approved to be on Steam. The bad news here, though, is I'll still wishlist this. Is I got information that the Yeast series, and kind of in general, all the games made by this developer or publisher that makes the Yeast series, don't do the most amazing job in their quality. So maybe the Yeast series isn't the one for me after all. I didn't really think it was. There's a hard logical jump to make to say why play the Yeast series over the Final Fantasy series, or say some of them, maybe like the Secret of Mana series. But I'm not to the point where I've even determined that I actually need to play any of the... Let's go ahead and squelch this guy immediately. I'm not sure I need to play any of the JRPG games out there. That just may not be my niche.
You are the shadows.
In fact, about a year ago, I thought about seeing if I could find somebody who would just play visual novels and just love visual novels, and like having them make content on my channel just for that. And I guess if somebody wanted to do that, maybe I'd be still alright with that idea. Maybe not. So maybe in that same thought, if I could collaborate in the sense that neither one of us are paying the other person, with somebody that plays JRPGs and just JRPGs, I could see how my channel could become something sort of like Giant Bomb, where it's less about all 100% of the content being covered by me and more about it staying 2 or 3 people covering it. Although I don't want to get too big, certainly. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article. Raptor Rejects as a 2D battle royale that needs to do some soul searching. We go hands-on with the early alpha of the latest battle royale game. This one's set in the Cyanide and Happiness universe. There's a paragraph in this article, not the second coming. So yeah, they don't like it at PC Gamers. The quote here is, "If hell is literally come to earth, then I expect more interesting weapons than the usual pistol, shotgun, automatic rifle, and sniper rifle spread." Which I think is a fair argument to say. When I saw this Raptor Reject game, I knew immediately it wouldn't be for me because of just the way, because it's an online game only. a multiplayer game only, but it didn't seem like it was really offering anything new. If anything, I'd prefer a single-player Telltale-esque story game in the Cyanide and Happiness universe. Making a cheap battle royale with a pretty well-known brand of Cyanide and Happiness is kind of dumb. Like, it doesn't even open them up to say jokes, you know, in a consistent manner. If any jokes are spoken during the game, they're going to get repeated over and over again. Moving on, there's a game called Starlight Drifter. It's an indie adventure, casual nudity visual novel game, which is slightly surprising to me because I thought it was going to be a space game as the trailer was loading. It's rated mostly positive by 11 users, but that's not saying anything. The animation style doesn't look awful. It's definitely a Western animation style, and there are certainly some variances, it seems, in quality. Some of these screenshots I'm seeing look alright. Some of these look like they are more drawn with a marker and lacks shading and texture and just that general ability to draw things the way I personally think things should be drawn, to add details to them.
My bidding.
I would say the artist for Starlight Drifter at least has moderate skill. This isn't awful. It has 44 achievements in it. It's 35% off for $8.44. So if you want a Western sex, romance, dating visual novel where it has a Western style of story, I assume, and a Western style of drawing, this one might be for you. It's from a developer who also has made Galaxy Girls Poker Night and Alexis's Wild Night, and apparently Galaxy Girls was their big moneymaker. So they'll probably be using animation. What happens when I click View Full List? This still doesn't work with the new beta of how they've said it. Apparently they're also the makers of the Negligee series. So I would say that when you look at their older games, their animation is getting better. Maybe one day it will get to the point where I actually like it and think it has enough detail. Moving on, Gematsu has a article, Nelki and the Legendary Alchemist details several people. The article names each people, so it's Misty, Elfir, Esha, Logix, Fairy, and Vice. V-I-E-S-E. These are characters in what I assume is a visual novel, Japanese visual novel. It's coming out apparently for the PS4, PS Vita, and Switch. Yes, in Japan in 2018. Maybe it'll come to the West, maybe it won't. I finally, I will mention Omega Labyrinth Z a little bit. I finally saw a trailer that showed at least one of the schoolgirls in that game, and I will admit that one of the schoolgirls is drawn extremely young and differently than the other schoolgirls. So in my own personal interpretation, this fake non-human cartoon looks a lot younger than all the other fake non-human cartoons, but to the point where one of them certainly seems like at best they are like 9 years old, where the rest I could argue were 18 years old. Like I guess you would say that would be to say she looks prepubescent. And unfortunately, I still have yet to see what the scenarios are or what they are. It's probably just a groping mini game that they put in so many dungeon crawlers. But that game is not being allowed in the West at all now on PlayStation. And they said it would cost them another $100,000 to port it to PC. I'm not sure exactly why it cost them another $100,000 to port a game to PC, but whatever. It was certainly a game that was poorly handled and poorly published, because frankly P-Cube should have known that there was going to be trouble, and this doesn't feel like it's a game that they are trying to say this game is so controversial, it's too hot for TV type thing, and then they're going to release it on Steam and get a bunch of people to buy it because of the controversy. This is just, it's not getting released and it's not selling at all. But at least I am a step closer to understanding that there's certainly a level of censorship and lack of detail in the news reporting, though. Even now, like, I can only speculate that that Omega Labyrinth Seed just has a groping mechanism. For all I know, it may have a full-on like rape scenario simulation. It might have full-on sexual intercourse scenarios in the game. Who knows? Like, I don't, and because none of the other people who have seen it, which, let's face it, most of the people reporting on it have not seen it either. Since nobody's really seen it, nobody really knows how bad is too bad. And I'd really like to know in detailed terms, described just with words. I'm not demanding you show me pictures, although pictures might be helpful, even if you're just drawing little stickmen and showing the part that's too much. Like, I'd really like to know where the line got crossed. And so, almost certainly, once the game comes out in the East, I'd like to, I bet that somewhere on YouTube, for at least a brief time, there will be videos showing off the scenes in question. Moving on though, I'm trying to burn through all the news in an hour. There's a game called Avatar: Consolidate. It doesn't look like it's a game based on the Avatar movie line. It's early access, $6.99. It looks like a space game that's sort of an asset flip, like No Man's Sky type clone. It's the first game from this developer. I really don't have any confidence here. It's another instance where asset flips can look rather pretty, but I still don't trust it. I'm not seeing any real gameplay in the trailer. I'm just seeing a character walk and sit in chairs of different ships, and that seems to be about it. They're calling it a survival shooter game. Yeah, just not interested in it at all. 3 damage to everybody else. Play this. And
Tortola, preserve us! Revenge!
kill this. And kill that. Next game we have is a game called Subway Surfers 2018 Pets vs. Police. This is an infinite runner game. It looks like it's a port from a mobile game. It's not widescreen. You're playing as a rabbit that is changing lanes between 3 lanes on the street and collecting coins and jumping up every now and then. Yep, this is just a cell phone port. 20% off for $3.99. I don't see any reason why you would play a cell phone port on PC. This is the second game from this developer, the first one being Hero Hunter's Jurassic Shooter Sniper, which is, by the name alone, you can tell is a very low effort game.
You are not welcome here.
Let's see.
Candle smash.
This
Shells up.
and
Fireball.
this. PC Gamer has an article. Wrecking Ball is Overwatch's most innovative hero to date. Overwatch introduced Wrecking Ball, a hamster in a mech suit. So I wonder if he's somewhat related to, well, he's a giant hamster in a mech suit that turns into a hamster ball. I kind of wonder if he's related to Diva, because that seems like that would be some kind of connection there, but maybe not. As somebody who really doesn't care about Overwatch, he's certainly a cute looking character, but I can't really care too much. I think Overwatch has failed to put any kind of mixed media out there that would interest people who don't really want to play the game. So if they had instead, say, made a single player experience game using the same characters by now, that would have been pretty nice in my opinion.
Beware the shadow.
I will mourn you. Shells up.
Let's keep playing. Yeah. Like, I kind of want all of the Overwatch people in some kind of Borderlands-esque game where they run around and are given missions and are shooting other people. I think if they moved to a different form instead of just the online form, I'd be able to get into Overwatch really nicely. Right now there's only kind of comic books to look at. Not, like, I don't even think it's comic books, I think it's just web comics that slightly tell the story of Overwatch. Honestly, Overwatch looks so good, I kind of wish they'd just make a movie about it. Like, just make a Disney Pixar-esque movie and show it off, or a cartoon or something. Maybe it would work better as a cartoon because of the frantic action and the large amount of shooting that would have to be going on. But yeah, I could totally see a Borderlands-esque game with those characters, and that would cause me to be more interested, certainly. We've got a game on Steam called MXGP Pro. It has mixed reviews, 53% of 13 user reviews. It's a motorcycle simulation racing game. It's got trailers on it, and it looks relatively good, so I haven't done this in a while, so I'm going to go down and see what the negative reviews are. It's $49.99, so it's expensive, certainly. MX GP Pro Tokyo Drift is not worth $40. There's one that not recommended. And then the bottom of this article is don't buy it unless they do some serious patching.
Give that minion a turn to get ready.
There you go. Here we have a not recommended, refunded review. Fixed AI and stuttering, please. So yeah, it seems like the mixed reviews are heavily influenced by the factor that this game, MXGP Pro, is just not running well. And you've really got you have to get your racing game running well. Otherwise, you've got nothing. So I've drawn 15 cards. How many spells have I cast? Not anywhere enough. So let's try Secret Mage and assume that Custom Mage is something different. Let's see. Next game we have on Steam is called Parallel Pixel. Oh god, this just looks awful. MS Paint graphics. $3.99, no discounts. Action indie casual game. Looks like it's an infinite runner with MS Paint graphics. This is the worst game I have seen in at least a month. I don't need to say anything more about that. Next game we have is a game called National Machine. Early access strategy indie simulator. See, you're a munition manufacturer helping your nation for arms race before war break. You need to produce enough aircraft, tanks, and guns.
Jaina,
So it's a simulation game where you're building
I will fight with honor.
factories alongside a rail line, and the rail line is, I guess, where things come in and go out. I mean, it's slightly interesting as an idea. I don't know specifically why I would want to be playing this simulation over some other simulation games that are probably better. It's a big ask. It's 10% off for $13.49, and it's the first game from this developer. It's just too ambitious a game. If I'm gonna play a simulation game, I want it by at least a AA company, somebody who I know can invest the time for game balance, who can put in lots of features and functions. I'm also not sure I really want to play as a munition person when I could go play something like Infinite Factory or something that's not so war related and violent and get the exact same experience. Next game we have is a game called Flatwaters: The Curse of Ichita, E-C-H-I-T-A. It's a action indie simulation game. Seems like you are in a boat and fighting other boats, and you're going to different ports, and I think you're trading. And there's also a land mechanic, so you're also on the ground, and then you're top-down dual stick shooting, it seems like, as a pirate. So this game seems like it has two gameplay mechanics, which I suspect neither one are amazingly well balanced or programmed.
I wonder.
And just says you are dead when you're dead. There's definitely an effort here to make a game. This isn't just an extremely low effort game. It's just not at the level of quality that I think it should be at. It's 10% off for $7.19, which is asking too much in my opinion. It's from a developer who's released 3 other games, none of which have ever been reviewed, which I think you can take as something. Gamatsu, moving on, has a article called World End Syndrome Overview Trailer. So another trailer, another one of these Japanese trailers for Japanese games that since all the text is in Japanese, if you don't read Japanese, you're not getting much, and the pictures themselves are not really telling you too much other than the characters and the animation style for this visual novel. Mystery Love Adventure game is how they're describing it. That's coming out August 30th in Japan.
Job's done.
And World End Syndrome is one of those Japanese names that will certainly mix up in your head with several other games, like The World Ends With You, or I could probably imagine think of several others if I could keep any of them straight in my head already. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article. BioWare dev opens up about Mass Effect's Andromeda's reception. Mark Dara, D-A-R-R-A-H, takes to Twitter to ask, did Mass Effect Andromeda get a fair shake? This is not really what you should say. This is just bad. A bad idea in the first place. It's sour grapes. Like trying to defend your last work after it's already failed is kind of pointless. I could certainly see if he was trying to make the argument it didn't get a fair shake because the publishers didn't give him enough time to fix all the bugs and polish it and have a good story and make a good game. But there's not like one thing that was overly emphasized on Mass Effect Andromeda to say it was a bad game. Every single element that I saw mentioned was bad on Mass Effect Andromeda. It was a generic game that at best, if it was in a perfect state, would have still been a generic game. Let's see. He blames Nier Automata, Neo, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Zelda because they all launched at the same time. Again, that's the publisher's fault. Like those dates were known. You could have pushed back your game release at any point. And yeah, people would have been upset. I think for Mass Effect Andromeda they did push back the release date. But I guess not enough. Certainly it wasn't a finished product. He admits while launching in a less busy release period would not turn a 72% into a 90%, but it might have turned a 72 into a 77 or 78. I would hope people reviewing games are not giving the lower ratings to games based on when they are released, but they certainly are giving lower ratings based on what else has been released in quality. And so his argument really is to say if Nier Automata, Neo, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Zelda had been worse, Mass Effect Andromeda would have been rated higher in comparison, which is no way to run an industry. To say, boy, do I wish all those other game developers did a worse job and those great games were not so good. So it's an interesting thing for him to do there. A stupid thing, frankly. You should have just kept his mouth shut. Like, don't talk about your failures. Keep that inside and personal and private for internal conversations inside your corporation. Don't bring it out in public on Twitter. Inherently, game developers on Twitter are showing their lack of knowledge and intelligence in many other fields besides programming and development. So, if I was running a video game company, I think I'd tell everybody to stay off Twitter. You make your profile private. Can you do that on Twitter? I don't even know. I'd just say stay off Twitter in general. Like, we have an office policy. Everybody stays off Twitter. Period. That's a requirement for working at this job. That would save a lot of frustration in general. Both ways too. A lot of people see things in the video game industry on Twitter and overreact to the things they're seeing, and which then enters them into conversations and arguments that they had no business being in the first place, and they should be using their time more wisely. Like, if it weren't for the fact that I was getting what's on Steam and a little bit of other news on Twitter, I would almost certainly not be on Twitter. It would have nothing to offer me at that point. Moving on, Gematsu has an article, Romancing Saga Grace Saga 3 Remastered News due out around the Tokyo Game Show of 2018. So, Scarlet Grace, I believe, is Saga. So the remastered, more information about the remastered version of Romancing Saga 3. Maybe this isn't Scarlet Grace. Maybe this is a different game called Saga. Capital S, lowercase a, capital G, lowercase a, 3. So sometime around September 20th and 23rd is when the Tokyo Game Show happens. And they're thinking maybe a PS Vita smartphones remaster might get announced. This is like not really news, though.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Let's see. How do we want to do this?
I found it first.
We have a game on Steam called Mercury Blue Mini Episode. It's a free-to-play indie story-rich action-adventure played through tags. It looks to me kind of pretty, but it also looks like it's kind of an asset flip, like an extremely ambitious game made by somebody who I don't believe has the writing skill or the ability to fully make this into a game. And this mini episode is free, but I imagine this is advertisement for something more that they plan on releasing. This is the first game from this developer. I guess I can't inherently complain though about the fact that somebody is doing the right thing and releasing their first game that's not that quality for free. That is the right way to build your name. So I can't really not recommend a free game. Maybe you're interested in Mercury Blue Mini Episode. Personally, I skip all free games, so I guess it's easy enough just to do that. They say it has some classic point-and-click adventure puzzles and fart jokes. So yeah, I wouldn't have even thought this was a point-and-click adventure game, but now looking at it a second time, yeah, I guess it is. So maybe we'll see something more as far as Mercury Blue as a series in the future.
Me?
PC Gamer has an article, Brave is testing Tor-powered tabs to bolster private browsing. Native to support is only for the Brave browser. I've never heard of Brave. Kinda looks like Chrome. Yeah, it kind of feels like it might just be seems like it might be a Mozilla thing too. I don't know, maybe it's time to jump over the Brave and stop using Chrome.
What to do?
It'd be really hard pressed to leave Chrome though, just because they have all my passwords like saved, and I don't have to remember how to type in so many passwords. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, Valve is developing tools designed to be more accurate and more useful than Steam Spy. This was mentioned by Jan-Peter Ewart during a event called White Nights 18 in St. Petersburg. I don't like the idea of going to an event called White Nights, frankly, and I can kind of answer this pretty easily to say it's yeah, they're gonna say they're working on that. We'll see if it ever actually comes out and how useful it really is. Steam Spy not really working, or if it stopped working completely, it never got integrated into stuff I do, so I'm not super worried about it. It would be nice to have more information, more useful information, but frankly, the more information I see when I look at a Steam page turns into just the more time I spend on that Steam page, which makes things not work well.
Give that minion time to get ready.
We have a game on Steam called Fruit Hoop that's an MS Paint looking simple game. It is not worth the 74 cents it's selling for right now with 25% off. Why not go the full route and call it Fruit Loop? First game from this developer too. TechRaptor has an article. This is the first TechRaptor article for today. They don't do a lot. They really couldn't be my only source of income, of information. Oculus changes the system requirements. Windows 10 now partially required. Like, the hardware hasn't changed, but Windows 10 is now the only OS that will meet the minimal specification for Oculus Rift and its software. Windows 7 and 8.1 will continue to function running, but
Steam!
will continue running for basic Oculus software, and application developers can set their own requirements for individual apps. Oculus says that this is a necessary change to deliver the best experience, as doing so requires taking full advantage of the latest technology. So also notes that both Windows 7 and 8.1 are only receiving security updates from Microsoft, which are set to be discontinued in January 2020 and January 2023.
You are the Shadow's puppet!
They also note that an overwhelming 95% of the install base using Oculus Rift already use Windows 10, which this is really more of a testament to say that Microsoft has done a pretty good job of shoving Windows 10 down people's throats, whether they like it or not.
Steam!
Next game we have on Steam is a game called Yoke Light, Y-O-K-E. It's an indie action casual game according to the tags. It says time attack and collect the diamonds. Let's aim for 3 clear stars. So honestly, this kind of doesn't look like a mobile game, but it certainly seems like it's designed like a mobile game. You're just playing as some kind of creature that's going around one of 50 stages trying to find gems and collect them. Nothing really there. 15 achievements, 10% off for 89 cents, and probably the first game for this developer. No, second game, but the other game is called Lost Summoner Kitty, and it hasn't been reviewed by anybody. Which is kind of a shame. That is an interesting name, but the graphics on the game looks awful.
You have better.
Gamma Sutra has an article. 343 and Showtime team up to produce 10-episode Halo TV series. Cool, I suppose. It's rather questionable whether there's enough story to do more than 10 episodes of a Halo TV series. Inherently, if you're going to make a TV series, you want to go 100 episodes for syndication. I don't know what you do in the Halo universe that makes it work like that. Furthermore, nothing here really indicates that this is a kids show or a cartoon. So this might be Game of Thrones Halo, where there's sex and nudity more than teenagers Halo, who I think would be probably the better target market for the series. Apparently this has been in development since 2013, and that's how a lot of speculative scripts and such go in TV and movies. People have been trying to get things made for decades and it just never happens, or it takes forever to happen. And oddly, a lot of times the reason why things get made is because there's a new producer or a new person in charge in the management field, and they want to have something that they can say is their own idea and that it was successful. Moving on, there's a game called Find a Gnome. Looks like more of a asset flip game than anything. They're saying it's a hidden object game, but it seems more like it's kind of a Where's Waldo type game. It's a top-down 3D hidden object game is what they're describing it as, but all I can describe it as is a low-effort asset flip. It's $2.99. Really expensive. First game for this developer. Moving on, I say the same things way too often at this rate. Give a Citra as an article. Summer games done quick. Donations will determine a new skin for Prey. Those who turn into summer games done quick tonight. This was June 28th, so it's already too late, I bet. Will decide on a new skin for Prey's Moon Crash upcoming Typhoon Hunter update. The donations are going to Doctors Without Borders. I still have slight problems with things like this because inherently what they're doing is saying, you poor people who we've already taken your money to buy games, we want to take your money now to donate to charity, when frankly they have a lot more money than any individual game player probably does, and they could just be donating to charity. Seems like the skin is not too much of anything. It's just like it's doing the Games Done Quick meme of kill the Typhon, save the Typhon skins. So it's not even very interesting skins in the first place. Give us Citra as an article. Warner Brothers calls Bethesda's lawsuit against Westworld game baseless. We've heard that. I think we're gonna have to put a pause on that news until it goes to court, though. Like I don't think there's more information to be heard or interact with until we see if it goes to court at all. We already talked about Amy Hennig leaving EA. She says her Star Wars game was on the shelf. I don't think on the shelf is even an accurate description. I'd say it was in the trash.
So many possibilities.
Game of Citra has a blog article. Thousands of indie Android devs are on the brink of extinction after Play Store changes visibility algorithm rules. Let's see. Starting Thursday, June 21st, hundreds of small independent Android game developers started observing a decrease in daily installs across their games published on the Play Store. At first it looked like a normal fluctuation that happens now and then. By Monday morning, most of them lost from 80 to 90% of their new organic traffic. They're all now in the same boat and think it's about to sink. Here's what the devs are saying. Blah 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 blah. Here's the only important part of this that makes this entire article not even news. It's not an article, it's a blog. Google has not made any public announcement on the issue, nor has it given a clear answer to any of us while the support of development. So this is in other words, this really is just a bunch of developers complaining that their games, which are probably all suck, are just not tricking people or getting people to install them anymore. I'm certainly willing to believe that. That being said, it's also Google, people who own YouTube, and we certainly have seen YouTube play with the algorithm and screw over channels left and right in random swings. Google, by the way, put in a due to like a mass petition of the employees, Google added a rule that employees have to be nice to each other and not dox or jump to my mouse. 1 second, I'm gonna have to cough.
I wonder. Time runs out on me.
There we go. Sorry. So yeah, Google's new code of conduct says you can't joke around with tease, prank, or dox, or do anything with within even internal forums with your coworkers at Google. You have to be nice. It's probably some SJW people that all signed the petition and wanted that. Arguably, though, the exact same rules could have been applied to people the SJW people didn't like, because they were certainly being pretty nasty and rude to that guy. But I imagine all the nuance will be in the enforcement of such a rule. We shall see. Like, it's crazy, but that probably will be the death of Google and Alphabet in general, is that just having a bunch of SJW employees more obsessed about word policing and whether people's feelings are getting hurt in the work environment, which that just happens. Arguments happen, like people's feelings get hurt. It just happens. I'm not promoting a hostile work environment, but it happens every now and then. But yeah, those people also are not particularly good. Inherently, my feeling with YouTube employees is they're not particularly good at doing their job. They're not particularly good or focused on doing what they should be doing, what their defined job is. And instead, they're causing problems for the company, if the company can recognize that what they're doing is causing problems, and just being in general pains to all of society. But I don't have time for a rant, so let's move on. There's a game called Minars, M-I-N-A-U-R-S, on Steam. It says it's a action-adventure RPG indie game. It's a interesting looking animation style, but that's only really on the thumbnail, and then when it zooms out, you're kind of doing like something like Terraria, if Terraria was this entire grid of caves under the ground. It seems like you're trying to make a labyrinth of sort for minotaurs, and there's different skins on these caves, but I'm not 100% sure what you're doing with this. Let's see. A unique adventure game full of exploration expeditions to various underground worlds on different planets. Travel with your Minar through the game universe, discover new worlds, their unique environment and inhabitants. Reunite the Minar nation and become a legend. Yeah, that description seems a little too generic for me. Like, I'm not sure I like it. 72 achievements, $5.99. Like it says, it's a unique blend of action, adventure, logical games with RPG elements. When you're adding 5 different things together like that, it says it's ESRB rated E for everyone. I doubt that. Yeah, and this is the first game for this developer, $5.99. Menards could have tricked me. It almost tricked me into thinking it was a good game worth looking at, but I'm coming out against it. I don't think it is. Should hit this guy. What am I doing? PC Gamer has an article, Mario themed mod Doom, the Golden Soul. Mario themed mod Doom, the Golden Souls 2 is basically an entire game. So is this a Doom mod? A conversion mod for Doom 2 based on the Super NES classic Super Mario World. Interesting. Doom 2, the Golden Souls. And you're in 3D environments running around, jumping, and you collect coins. You're still playing this Doom guy. Still shooting your standard Doom enemies, it looks like. Maybe some new elements in it. You need a copy of Doom 2, which you can get for $1 on the Steam sale, and then you need the mod loader, GZ Doom, and the mod itself. Okay. Well, I am certainly not at the point where I would play mods to games that are their own games, or almost their own games. That's slightly interesting, I suppose. Doom mods still going strong. See, we have a game called Dark Visit on Steam. It's one of these psychological dark screenshot syndrome games. 25% off for $1.49. I'm gonna immediately just reject it and say there's nothing here worth looking at. It's the first game for this developer. I'm trying to burn through all these games as quickly as possible, and I didn't realize I had as many as I did. And let's see. How can we do this quickly while we play some Spiteful Priest? There's a game called Booker's Underground Chapter. It's an RPG Maker looking game. Forget it. I'm not going to even look at the price. We're going to just have to go through an accelerated thing. Let's see. The Recast emulator, which I believe is the Dreamcast emulator, has made some improvement lately to run games better. There's a game called Urban on Steam. It's supposed to be a neo-noir story told through manga panels with a unique first-person fighting mechanics. To me, calling that manga panels is not descriptive. This is a black and white game with bad animation, and that's kind of all there is to say. They're $9.99. Wow. So forget Urban. Next black and white game also is called The Change. And I think this is probably some kind of troll game. Like, it's a troll game that's trying to white knight like political change or something, but it really is just a low effort game flip for $5.99. Skip that game. Some of these games I opened when I shouldn't have even opened them. Like, more and more when I'm going down my Twitter feed, I'm deciding this game in no way is going to look good. No way is this going to be something worth wishlisting, and I'm just skipping them. So I am doing more of a filtered release like how Co-optional Podcasts used to do, but I had already said that was what I was going to do. Let's see, we have a game called Whip Whip! Exclamation point and after each word. Let's see, it's a 1960s arcade video game style action game, and yeah, it kind of looks like it. I almost wonder if there's a reason for that. It's kind of like a Bubble Bobble game. Like, I wonder if there's room for a new arcade style game, because maybe it's just all been done before.
Right away.
And every idea that would work was tried and done.
Truth is
Let's see. Requires a controller to play. It's $9.99. They say multiple places it requires a controller to play. No discount. And it's the first game for this developer. So while I would applaud the developer for making what looks like a decent arcade style game, I also don't really have an interest in playing an arcade style game. So personally, I'm going to say no to Whip Whip. But I could certainly understand other people having a different attitude towards it and liking it. Whereas a lot of games that I just say no to, nobody legitimately should play. Next game we have on Steam is called Last Resort Island. Looks like it's a collection of a bunch of mini games. Match 3, solitaire type things like that. 36 achievements, 30% off for $6.29. And what else has this developer made? Several other mini games and solitaire games. So they're going with the theme. I don't think Last Resort Island looks like it's an interesting enough diversion as far as those games that makes any sense to wishlist that one. Let's see. Gamasutra has an article. Nintendo says the Switch is played as much docked as it is portable. There was a story of somebody selling a piracy tool to play pirated games, and then they put anti-piracy software into their piracy tool for the Switch. So if it thought you were trying to hack the piracy tool, it would brick your Switch. So there's quite an irony there that the piracy tool makers want to get paid for stealing games and not paying Nintendo. That's rather probably the first time this has ever happened. I can't think of any other times that might have happened.
Meddlesome insects.
Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. EA will disclose FIFA 19 Ultimate Team loot pack drop rates. Belgium's gambling commission recently found that FIFA 18 violates the game's country's gambling regulations. So, yay for more disclosure, I suppose. Like I'm on both sides for some of these anti-gambling laws. Sometimes I'm with the video game industry, but a lot of times I'm like, no, actually, what you're doing is scummy, and you shouldn't have done it in the first place. PC Gamer has an article. Overwatch players are already doing ridiculous things with Wrecking Ball, the hamster-powered mech. Good for them. PC Gamer is certainly getting as many articles out as they can about Overwatch, because I bet it gets them a lot of clicks. Let's see, we already talked about Starlight Drifter. We already talked about Subway Surfers. We already talked about MXGP Pro. We already talked about Parallel Pixel. That game still looks completely awful.
Your magic shall not save you.
Beware the shadow.
talked about National Machine, so I had like every single tab I had open was open twice. Tech Raptor has this article, Coverage Club, mixing it up. Let's see, they're talking about a game called Sparia, S-P-A-E-R-A, which looks like a Tetris game. Let's see. I don't know if this is... Sparia is at E3, it's in Steam Early Access. Talking about a game called Dark, D-A-R-Q. This is an article that's basically gives several articles that we couldn't, we wanted to mix into one.
Beware the shadow.
Right away.
DRQ is what kind of game? Some kind of dark, surreal adventure game of some sort. Looks like it's kind of a puzzle ability where you can rotate the walls and the ceilings and walk upside down. Interesting idea. Dark, D-A-R-Q. It was releasing on PC sometime in 2018, so I can't even click a link there. But I'll keep an eye on Sparia. A new Tetris game might be pretty cool. We talked about that article. The game Touhou, T-O-U-H-O-U, Scarlet Curiosity for PC launches July 11th. The PC version will include 4K resolution, bullet hell difficulty, and more. So it's a bullet hell shooter game. It has a Steam page. Doesn't look like a bullet hell shooter game to me, actually. So why would they have a bullet hell mode? It's like a top-down bullet hell shooter game. Interesting. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll wishlist it. The Crash Bandicoot and Insane Trilogy is out on Steam. I probably want to own it, but honestly, just yesterday, exactly yesterday, I was thinking to myself, since I recently tried to play Crash Bandicoot for the first time in my life, it's not a good game. Maybe the Insane Trilogy fixes some of that, but trying to play Crash Bandicoot 1 just is not good. The way it kind of forces you to get all the boxes in every level, and how you're just kind of doing this infinite running, smashing. Like I'm looking at the trailer right now, and I never even got anywhere close to any of the entertaining things I'm seeing on the screen. The Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is available right now for $39.99, and oddly, if you buy it with the Steam controller, the price goes up to $74.98, which I think you could get the Steam controller for cheaper than that right now alone. There's a game called Photon Cube, and is there anything here that will interest me? Well, there's anime girls in it, and it looks like it's a color lens matching puzzle game. Heck, you might sell me on an anime girl puzzle game. Like, the anime girls are not really doing too much. She's just walking around picking up cubes, changing the colors. 10% off for $6.29. I'm gonna look at this developer and see if they've made anything else. That would be the next question. Is this a nobody developer? Yeah, it is. I'm feeling generous. I'm gonna wishlist Photon Cube. They got me with the anime girls. Speaking of getting got by the anime girls, the next game is called The Waters Above Prelude. It's a casual visual novel. Animation looks a little off for a Japanese animation, but nowhere as bad as most Western animation. It still looks like it's an anime style, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually made by like Koreans or some other group. The only language in this game is English for the interface, so that's kind of weird too. Prelude is the free prequel to The Waters Above. It's being published by Sekai Project. Let's see, is The Waters Above even available right now? No. So they're trying to get people interested in it. But here's the thing, it's still a visual novel and it's not fully voice acted, even though it's only in English. Which
Beware the shadow.
certainly puts you in a weird position. Yeah. I'd still if I was gonna try and cover this, I'd still have to read everything. This might also be one of these RPGs that doesn't promise nudity, so you might be okay with younger kids playing it. Moving on, Gematsu has a article. Chrono Trigger for the PC's 4th update is now available. So more changes, more improvements. Doesn't seem like there's an extremely long list. The 5th patch will be released in late July and will add the ability to rebind buttons for controllers, keyboard, and mouse, and more, they say. So they should have had a finished product and a good product to begin with, but at least they're trying to fix it. Let's go one more game. I may not even go one more game, I may concede. We've got a game on Steam called Light Borrower that seems like it's a puzzle game where you have to light up sections with a light source to solve a puzzle. The animation doesn't look great when it's zoomed out, but the main part of the game is kind of simplistic animation and it works fine there. So 20% off for $3.99. Maybe a little too expensive for a puzzle game. Yeah, but also the first game for this developer, and again, I'm feeling generous, so I'm gonna wishlist that one and keep an eye on it. Yep, we don't need to talk about Amy Hennig again. Our Rock Paper Shotgun has a podcast on all the games we weren't allowed to play. So they're talking about The Sims, Silent Hill, Cultist Simulator, Ghost of a Tale, and Dying Light. Some of those games don't feel like they would have been around when the people on the podcast were talking, or were kids. Let's see. Shuntaro Furukawa has been officially appointed as the Nintendo president. So Nintendo of Japan has a new president. He looks like a relatively young guy for the Japanese management world, which is to say he's probably in his early 50s compared to people who are in their 70s or 80s and still running companies. We'll have to see what he does with Nintendo, if he does anything.
Reporting for duty. There's
a game called Professor Watts World Search, Pirate's Life. I think I only put this game on Steam. I only opened this link to say how awful it looks. It's 40% off for $1.19, and it's part of a bundle that includes 43 other games. So this is just one of these developers that is flooding Steam. And honestly, the companies that are flooding Steam are the ones that are doubling the amount of games that are coming out every month. So individual limits on, say, this developer, Rip Not Systems, saying you can't put out, you specifically are not allowed to put out so many games so often, would clean up Steam more than just having a blanket rule.
Right away.
Job done.
Excuse me. Game Researcher has an article. The French startup named OBB, that's OH space BIBI, and that's $21 million to build out a mobile shooter. We'll see if that money ever gets invested wisely. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't go anywhere. Like, these investment companies need to be very careful in what they're investing in. Game Researcher Sona now looking at cross-platform play possibilities. This is kind of taking... You're being very generous to take their response to say that they're looking at it. I think mostly they're just trying to shut up people complaining about it. We'll see if there's actually ever a solution from Sony to allow crossplay to work. I'm surprised though that Epic particularly isn't just doing what they should do and just saying, no, you cannot log into your Epic account on Sony PlayStation. You have to make a new account that is only accessible on Sony PlayStation, because if we let you tie our Epic account to Sony, then you'll never be able to use it with anything else, and that causes just too much complaints.
What you want?
Yes, today would be a good day to take a break. I think I may be getting sicker and sicker. PC Gamer has an article. BioWare would like to make smaller, more experimental games. Casey Hudson and Mark Dara want to branch out into other things. BioWare being the makers of Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age. Seems like it's strange that Mark Dara would want to go out and do experimental things, but he's also on Twitter complaining about the fact that he feels Mass Effect Andromeda didn't get a fair shake. He needs to focus on one thing or the other.
Time for killing.
And that puts us at the Humble Store. Do we have any Humble bundles that are out? There's a cybersecurity bundle, there's book bundles, but that seems like that is all there is. And of course the subscribe to get unlock bundles. Yeah. Seems like the Humble Bundle as a concept is going away. Could be, certainly, that they don't want to do a Humble Bundle in the middle of awesome summer games done quick. That could kind of make sense too.
Right away.
Because of just like cross competition. But that doesn't fully make sense either. Sorry. I also want to point out that Steam Summer Sale, the planets that are left on the clicker game to give you free games, does not seem like they don't seem like they're very good going forward. Like, I think they've crossed the point where now they're giving some pretty unheard of, pretty bad looking games, or rather cheap games, so that it would be, for most people, a bit of a disappointment if they're getting a $2 or $3 game for free. Let's see, I'm scrolling down Twitter until this game is done, and I'm gonna just end. Team YouTube says we're on track to clear the backlog for the YouTube Partner Program applications by early next week. If you applied and meet the eligibility criteria before June 1st, keep an eye on your email in Creative Studio. Great for those people who have 1,000 subscribers and got 1,000 subscribers in between the time that became the new requirement and when it actually happens. We'll see if they really even get it done.
Reporting for duty.
There's a cartoon Geralt of Rivia hunting a Griffith in a Samurai Jack inspired short. PC Gamer has a link to it. I think I saw it on Reddit also.
Tortola, preserve us!
I just keep trying not to kill this guy, and I think I'm gonna have to just kill that guy. Let's see. I imagine I'm gonna take it easy this weekend, even though I really shouldn't. Like, it's not gonna work well for me. Just falling further and further behind. Myst 3 Exile and Myst 4 Revelation are now available on Good Old Games as, I suppose, part of the re-release there. I hope they come to Steam also. That will be... Like, I really don't have a belief that Myst 3 or Myst 4 or Myst 5 are going to disappear from Steam a month after they come out. So I can take a little bit of time there, but I do definitely want to have all the games that I don't have already. PC Gamer has an article how Battlefield 5 fixes some of Battlefield 1's biggest mistakes. Improvements in spotting, scoring, and vehicles. Let's see. Let's see, what can we do? I can't do much of anything, so do this, draw a card, do this, this, and then end the turn.
I dream and the world trembles.
Skipping over some articles talking about games that are just coming out. 3 hours ago, Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition Episode 30 aired on my channel. Won't be too long until that's over, I believe, but maybe actually quite a while. I'd have to go check to see how long that game went. Probably a lot longer than I'm thinking.
Medicine insects.
Shells up!
Is someone injured?
There we go. I'm gonna win. And I don't think there's really gonna be two. The Crew 2, I heard that game wasn't very good. PC Gamer saying it's not that good. Giant Bomb said it wasn't that good. YouTube in general has been having a couple problems this week, which just, again, more evidence to my thought that they're not competent employees. 4 hours ago, Assassin's Creed Revelations number 28 aired on my channel. So again, a series that might be really long, or it might be close to the end. And as I'm scrolling down, I'm not sure I'm really seeing any new content stuff. a company called Nyko, NYKO, to release a cardboard arcade cabinet for the Nintendo Switch. That's an interesting idea, certainly. Almost everything on eBay is 15% off right now, according to PC Gamer.
The victory is yours.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's anything on my Twitter feed even worth mentioning. Like, I don't think there's anything to say at all, even if it wasn't worth mentioning. So we're just about 21 minutes over an hour, which is better than I usually do when I go over. That's gonna be it for this stream. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a Friday, so I'm bet not that many people watched it. I'm rapidly, I think, decreasing in my health, so I think I'll take the whole weekend off, even though I'd really love to do some work. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask that you like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, I'm asking people right now during the Steam Summer Sale or at any time in the future, friend me on Steam, gift me a game off my wishlist, give me a game you'd like me to play, or gift me a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.